You're listening to IsReal News, 3 daily briefings on the Middle East and on global developments.
From IsReal News, these are the evening headlines for Monday, April 13th. There are signs tonight that U.S.-Iran diplomacy may continue. CNN reports Trump administration officials are discussing the possibility of another meeting with Iranian negotiators before the current ceasefire expires. Possible dates and locations are now under review. At the same time, contacts between Washington and Tehran are still moving forward. A senior American official says there has been progress in the talks, even as the U.S. naval blockade on Iran remains in place. The main dispute centers on Iran's nuclear program and uranium enrichment. New reporting adds detail to those negotiations. According to officials cited by the New York Times, Iran has proposed suspending nuclear activity for up to 5 years, while U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance pushed for a 20-year suspension. The talks ended without agreement just before the U.S. blockade of the Strait of Hormuz began. Iran's president is now signaling openness to continued diplomacy. In a conversation with French President Emmanuel Macron, he says Tehran is prepared to continue talks with the United States within the framework of international law, while warning that the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz will have consequences for global trade. There are also security concerns surrounding the talks. A member of Iran's negotiating delegation says they received what he describes as credible threats that their aircraft could be attacked. He says the delegation altered its route, landing in Mashhad before returning to Tehran by land. At sea, new movements by U.S. forces. Reports say the aircraft carrier George Bush, heading toward the Middle East, is avoiding the Mediterranean route and instead sailing around southern Africa toward the Arabian Sea, citing concerns over possible Houthi attacks. In Lebanon, Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem is lashing out at the very idea of negotiations. He calls for canceling the planned meeting, describing it as humiliation and surrender. He warns that Hezbollah will act to capture Israeli soldiers. That comes as Lebanon prepares for direct talks with Israel set to begin tomorrow in Washington. A Lebanese official says Iran will not be allowed to interfere in the country's internal affairs. Security forces in Beirut are now on high alert, with increased protection around diplomatic missions and warnings of possible internal unrest. On the ground, air raid sirens continue in northern Israel. Alerts sound in communities in the Upper Galilee over a suspected drone infiltration. Israel's Home Front Command is updating guidance in the north. In frontline communities, educational activity is limited to protected spaces, while in other areas activity is permitted only where shelter can be reached quickly. In Europe, a significant diplomatic shift. Hungary's incoming prime minister says his country will return to the International Court in The Hague, a move that would restrict travel for Israeli leadership under existing arrest warrants. Inside Israel, police say dozens of Palestinians are caught attempting to enter the country hidden inside a garbage truck near the Shamron crossing. The driver is arrested and the passengers detained. And in Jerusalem, Israel opened Holocaust Remembrance Day events at Yad Vashem. President Isaac Herzog warned against internal division, while Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel has fulfilled its promise that there will not be another Holocaust. On Wall Street, oil prices rise again following the U.S. blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, while U.S. stocks close higher. Those are the latest headlines from IsReal News.
Follow IsReal News for 3 daily briefings. Fast, factual, and to the point.